Hey ladies. There are 3 unspoken laws of relationships, and chances are, you're breaking them without even realizing it. These laws aren't written in any handbook, but they're the invisible rules that shape our love lives. And when we ignore them, it's no wonder we find ourselves asking, where is my person? Why am I still alone? Why can't I seem to find real, lasting love? Let's dive into the first one, and I promise, it's a game changer. Law number 1. Stop fortune telling your love life. You know the feeling. You meet a guy, sparks fly, and the second you get home, you're already texting your bestie, girl, he might be the one. Then you're online, deep diving into his Instagram, checking his Facebook, maybe even Googling his name to see if he has a LinkedIn. Sound familiar? Here's the truth. When you start obsessing over a guy like that, it usually means you're more invested in him than he is in you. Let me break this down with a real story. A client of mine, let's call her Marina, came back from a date practically floating. She was glowing. Yulia, she said, I just had the most amazing date with this guy Anatoly. He's perfect. I haven't felt this way in years. I couldn't stop thinking about him, so I looked him up everywhere. And I had to stop her right there. Marina, I said, Anatoly did a great job on that date. He made a strong impression. He swept you off your feet. But now he's living rent-free in your head, and you're already putting him on a pedestal. Here's the danger in that. When a man captures your emotions this deeply, this fast, he's already holding more power in the dynamic. You're not just interested, you're hooked. You're rearranging your thoughts around him. You're checking his social media. You're asking your coach to read his energy through a photo. You're even considering asking your friend Noreen to read the coffee grounds to find out if he's the one. Ladies, let me give it to you straight. In every relationship, someone always loves just a little bit more. And if you want to build a happy, balanced, long-term connection, it's better, yes, better, if the man is the one who's a little more into you. He should be the one chasing. He should be the one trying to win your heart. Because guess what? He's the one who's going to propose. He's the one who's going to offer commitment. You can't just show up with a lasso saying, please, Sergey, pick me, or, Anatoly, I think you're amazing, why don't you love me back? That's not how this works. A man needs to earn your affection. He needs to work for your feelings. And no, feelings are not handed out on credit. You don't give your heart away just because someone smiled at you and paid for dinner. So the moment you come home from a date and feel the urge to figure him out, or look for signs from the universe, that's your cue. You've already gone too far. You're carrying his potential love for you like a baby bump, imagining a future he hasn't even offered you yet. And that, right there, is the first big mistake. The second unspoken law of love? You never, ever discuss your romantic life with anyone else. Not your best friend, not your mom, not your sister, your coworker, or your dog walker. No one. But let's be real, why do we do it? Why do we need to talk about him the second things feel magical? It's simple. A charming, intriguing man enters your life and suddenly your mind is bursting with thoughts of him. You're excited. Your heart is racing. You want to share it with someone, to spill the joy you're carrying. So what do? You turn to your coworker. Masha, you gush, I met the most amazing man last night. And boom, you've already cracked the seal on something that was never meant to be open to the outside world. Ladies, if you've ever seen my communication model, you know it's built on 4 pillars. One is social communication. Another is communication with a man. But here's the critical point. When it comes to romantic matters, the only people in that conversation should be you and him. That's it. There is no third person. Not emotionally, not spiritually, and definitely not physically. To make it crystal clear, imagine your bedroom. Imagine your bed. Intimacy. That deeply private space between you and your partner. Would you ever invite someone else in? No. So why, emotionally, are you letting outsiders crawl under the sheets of your relationship? Imagine this. You're with your man, and suddenly, your mom barges in, sweetie, come on, I made pancakes. It's ridiculous, right? Yet every time you share the details of your budding relationship with others, you're doing the emotional equivalent of exactly that. Love needs privacy to grow. And here's the kicker. Most of the time, the advice we seek? It's from people who don't even have the kind of relationship we want. Think about it. Are the people you're turning to truly happy in love? Do they have the kind of deep, respectful, lasting connection you're striving for? Statistically speaking, probably not. The divorce rate speaks volumes, and very few people out there are in truly happy, healthy relationships. So ask yourself, why am I asking for directions to a place they've never been? It's cheaper and easier, emotionally, to ask a friend. It feels comforting, but you'll pay a high price when your relationship starts unraveling because of conflicting advice, mixed messages, and emotional interference. The man you're with might start to pull away. He won't understand why things suddenly feel off. You might seem distant, or strangely reactive. Why? Because you're processing his every move through someone else's lens, and it's distorting the connection you're trying to build. So what's the solution? Talk to experts. Only experts. A true relationship coach doesn't care about liking you. They're not your girlfriend, your mom, or his buddy. An expert cares about the relationship. They stand for both of you, objectively. They'll tell you when you need to grow. And they'll tell you when he's off track. Their only job is to protect the bond you're building and help it thrive. So my dear girls, you have two options. You either get professional support, follow that guidance, and build strong, mature, emotionally intelligent relationships. Or you gossip, overshare, and slowly, unknowingly, dismantle the very love you're trying to grow. The choice is yours. Let's get brutally honest here. Are you building your dream life, or just donating your energy to someone else's? Because the third unspoken law of love is simple, but wildly powerful. Where you invest your energy is exactly where your results will grow. And if your energy is leaking into the wrong places, you'll feel it, not just emotionally, but in your love life, your confidence, and your outcomes. Let me walk you through a real story that explains it perfectly. A woman once came to one of my webinars and, halfway through, she raised her virtual hand and said something like, "Yulia, all this sounds great. You're talking about worthy, self-actualized, high-quality men. But come on, there aren't enough of those to go around. It's like showing up at a market where there are only 2 kilos of bananas and 100 people ready to buy. We're not all leaving with bananas." And I had to pause and say, hold on, what era is that mindset even from? That right there is what I call market thinking, where love is seen as a scarce resource, and women feel like they have to fight, compete, or settle just to get a taste. But the women who get results, the women who actually create aligned, fulfilling relationships, they walk into the room with a very different attitude. They don't care how many bananas are on the table. They've decided, I'm working on myself. I'm leveling up. I'm creating the version of me who naturally attracts the kind of man I want. These women aren't shopping for love, they're becoming magnetic to it. Now let me take this deeper, because this next story really shows what happens when energy gets misdirected. A woman enrolled in my coaching program. She was stunning, radiant, intelligent, magnetic. The kind of woman heads turn for. She loved the process, she believed in the system, and she was fired up for change. So much so, that she told her best friend, "You have to do this with me." Her friend signs up too. And this woman? She's thrilled. She starts pouring her heart into helping her bestie succeed. "I'll take your photos. Wear my dresses. I'll walk you through the homework. Don't worry, I'll help you every step of the way." Sounds sweet, right? But slowly, I began to see the shift. Instead of focusing all her energy on her own transformation, she started spreading it thin. She was investing not just in her own journey, but also in her friends. Half here, half there, and that split? It cost her. Because guess what happened? The friend, who, by the way, wasn't as striking by conventional standards, walked away with phenomenal results. Multiple men in pursuit, real romantic momentum, maybe even a proposal in the works. And the first woman? The one who had all the outer tools? She ended up with average results. Not bad, but not the love story she came for. Now pause and think. Why did that happen? It wasn't about beauty. It wasn't about worth. It was about energy. The most magnetic woman in the room gave her power away. Not intentionally, not with bad motives, but still, she gave it away. When your energy is divided, when you're showing up for others more than you're showing up for yourself, you lose your edge. You lose the momentum that comes from full commitment. And in love, half-hearted energy creates half-baked outcomes. Ladies, hear me clearly on this. You can't shortcut your own growth by living vicariously through someone else's. You can't build a dream relationship while playing fairy godmother to your friend's love story. And you definitely can't expect a man to fully choose you if you haven't fully chosen yourself. Stop trying to earn love by proving your loyalty to others. Stop waiting for external validation before you decide you're worthy. And stop offering the best of your time, your thoughts, your devotion to everyone except you. From this moment on, I want you to turn inward, to get crystal clear on what you want, and to fully invest your energy in becoming the woman who naturally attracts it. Because when you fall deeply in love with yourself, your path, your purpose, your presence, others can't help but follow. So ladies, fall in love with you. And then, watch the right man fall in love with you too. I'll see you in that future.